of the video. I'm loading some chunks of asphalt into the super dump and this truck with my Mini, hauling it off to my dump site. Two videos, you know, how much to charge, you know, when you're doing your dump truck business. The only person that can really determine what your rate is you. I mean, you're the only one that can really determine that. What's up, Blake? We're going for that record year, man. We're going for it. We're going for that record, man. So, the price is right. So, normally, I will not haul like asphalt chunks or concrete or anything like that in the back of the super dump. That never happens. I never solicit work for the super dump that is like that. It's all in asphalt chunks. Great, there's accident on 101. And that's gonna suck the day up. At least we only got one more load each. So I got this call last Friday from this guy. The number was out of state number. Like, hey, how much you charge for dump trucking? And I'm like, what do you got, you know? He's like, well, I got a whole bunch of concrete and asphalt chunks I want to get removed. And I said, well, normally for one truck, you know, or two trucks, it just depends. Probably $2.40 an hour is what I said, with the 6-hour minimum. And he's like, okay. And I'm like, and he was like, you want to come check this out? And I'm like, well, just send me some pictures of it, you know. And I'm like, okay. Normally when you get calls from out of state like that, or funky numbers, it's normally like a scam or somebody who just wants to know what you're charging. But yeah, traffic is gonna suck. They're completely stopped. Dang. There's no way to get to where we're going either, so we're gonna have to sit in it. Anyways, so I said, you know, send me some pictures. I looked at the pictures. I'm like, okay. Send me an email and I'll send you an estimate. You know, because I didn't want to drive an hour away to look at something that I could just look at a picture and know how much it's going to cost me. You know, I'm at that point where I can kind of, you know, I got a good idea of what it's going to cost. So I'm better able to give them a better price, and I'm also better to give myself a bigger profit margin also at the same time. So I looked at the picture, I'm like, okay, that's going to be 5 loads. I'm thinking it's an hour each way. You know, it's not an hour, but I'm just going to give myself an hour each way. Send him the estimate, $3,000, you know. And he's like, and I said, make sure you reply yes or no to the invoice. You know, I like to have an actual, look at this FedEx guy. He's going like 10 miles an hour under the speed limit just because of the rain. Yeah, let's go around this guy. He's one of those Christmas drivers that drives for FedEx during Christmas or something. Maybe he was driving a semi, maybe. Anyways, so say it's gonna be $3,000. He said, okay. And then he said, you guys take credit card? I'm like, yeah, we do credit cards, but it's gonna be extra 3.5% on top of it if you do the credit card. I always get this funky feeling where they're like, use that credit card. I always get this feeling like, man, they don't got any money. You're gonna end up doing this one for free, Brian. I've never done it for free, but I just have this feeling like they don't got any money. That's why they're asking to use the credit card. You know, they don't want to pay. You know, and I was talking to Blake about that. I'm like, man, I got a funky feeling. I might be doing a live stream, you know. And that was on Friday. I didn't end up doing it because they ended up being kind of a legit customer. So I get to the job site. It's at a Home Depot warehouse. So I'm like, okay, this looks legit. They're probably got money. They're probably going to pay me. And so in my estimate, I told the guy, said, you know, 50% up front when my equipment arrives, you know. That's the way it goes, you know. You're a guy I've never met before. We've never done business before. I want 50% up front when my equipment shows up. And I was a little lenient because, you know, he was doing a big job at, you know, like a Home Depot warehouse. So he's obviously got his stuff, you know, somewhat in order, you know. If I showed up in somebody's backyard and I was removing their concrete patio, then I would be a lot more leery of them paying, right? So I show up, I said, hey man, you know, I went over and talked to the foreman. He's like, okay, so how do we do this, the 50%? I'm like, well, I sent you an invoice. You can do a partial payment or the full payment. It don't matter to me, really. You guys seem kind of legit. So, he ended up, he didn't pay me the 50%. He said, oh, you guys do bank transfer. Let me call the office and see if they'll do that. So we ended up hauling all day. Well, it wasn't even all day Friday. We left my house at like 8 or something in the morning. We showed up at 9 with the machine. So we worked like 5 hours maybe. And then there was the weekend, and then now Monday we're gonna finish off the job, and I stayed after to, you know, dress up the pile a little bit that I was loading into the trucks, you know. I have to be strategic about the way I'm loading my super dump because it's so tall, and I'm only using the 50, right? So I gotta have the mini up on the pile. I gotta be strategic about it. So I stayed after, dressed up the pile a little bit, and some of the Mexican guys came over and talked to me. And they were like, hey man, you know, he was telling me about the company and stuff. Like, yeah, we're from out of state and we're going to Maryland next, and we installed these natural gas, it's like a fuel island basically. But he's like, we're going to be needing some rock pretty soon too. And I'm like, yeah, we deliver rock too, you know. He's like, okay. So because I didn't push them like super hard on getting my payment right away, like, because I knew they were legit, right? And like, yeah, we deliver rock. Anyways, after we showed up today, they're like, hey man, they called me up, they're like, hey, we want to get a load, you know, 2 loads of rock. And I'm like, okay, just make sure I get that 50% down, you know, and then I'll get you your rock, no problem, you know. And so they did 50%. I got the notification in my email that they paid, you know, 50% of my first invoice. So I'm like, okay, check, let's go get the rock on a back haul. So the whole thing is the price is right, right? How do you determine if the price is right for you to do something or not? Okay, you got to factor in a lot of things. You know, when I first started working, like, I wanted time and materials. Like, that's how I did my bids, was time and materials. You know, so time and materials. I want to be paid for the time that I spend and for the materials that I have to buy, right? That's how I like doing my bids, because I know for a fact I'm not going to get shortchanged. I know for a fact I'm not taking any risk other than, you know, if they go bankrupt and they don't pay, you know, which is highly unlikely. But it is possible, but that's the only real risk that I'm taking. exactly what Bobby said. Time and materials is safe, but you don't make the money. You don't make the profit, like, because you don't know how to bid it, right? So this job, easy, I knew how to bid it, right? So I'm like, okay, $3,000 for that, and then they're from out of state, so they don't know what the prices of rock are, right? So I don't have to be like, okay, I'm gonna give you a deal, you know. I just charge them what I normally charge like homeowners, you know, because we don't have a business relationship that goes back, you know, half the year, 6 months, a year, 2 years, 3 years. So obviously they're not going to get the same price as a homeowner, you know, as a constant customer, right? So I hauled them 2 loads, you know. I'm hauling off a whole bunch of concrete, well, mostly asphalt. We already finished with all the concrete. That was like 2 loads, 1 in each truck, and then the rest is just asphalt. It's at it's a Home Depot warehouse. They're installing it's like a natural gas fuel island, basically. It's so that their forklifts and all their trucks and stuff can refuel with the gas or the diesel or whatever, I don't know. But they're building this big, basically it's a gas station for the warehouse. And job, because the guy was looking on Google and he found me, right? I wasn't advertising on Google. I haven't advertised on Google for over a year now because yeah, Blake, how much was that? How much was your insurance? I got the bill for mine, and let me tell you what, Christmas is, man, I thought I was doing good, and then it's just like kicking you when you're down, you know what I mean? That insurance bill, man, tell you what, it is brutal. $9,200 for all 3 trucks. Yep. See, mine was, I think like $9,900 for my trucks. $9,900 bucks. $9,900 for 6 months. Dang, that's expensive. So, and that's my machines too, though. I got yours is only for a year. Dude, mine's for 6 months. See, I messaged my insurance lady. I said something's a little funky here. Last time I renewed it was $6,000 for 6 months. Now it's 9. Like, what's up here? Something ain't right. She said she's looking into it, so we'll see. And then I also just got a bill from L&I for $4,000. I think that's like my quarterly or something. I don't know. But you gotta bid these jobs so you're gonna make money, you know. But you gotta bid them so you're not like stealing a buttload of money from the customer too. You know what I mean? Yep, that's it, Larry. Yep. Take Marvin Road, right next to Orion. Labor and Industries, Chris. So, it might be my workers' comp bill. I don't know. I don't know what the hell. The government sends you bills all the time. You just got to pay them or they put you out of business, you know. Most of the time, you just got to pay it, you know. So, back somebody completely off. Like, I mean, be fair. Be fair. You're never, people are never gonna, I mean, there are people, but I mean, highly unlikely that they're gonna say, oh, this guy charges an arm and a leg. If you're not charging an arm and a leg, they're not gonna say that. I mean, and if they do, and somebody gets the word that you're charging an arm and a leg, and they say, hey, Brian, what's up with that? And you're like, what are you talking about? This is what I charged them, you know? And they're like, oh, that guy's nuts, man. That's a good price, you know? I've always went with since I started my business, one of the dump truckers I went with, he's like, hey, man, don't try to get rich on one invoice, you know? Because I was asking, so what should we sign out, you know what I mean? And he's like, well, don't try to get rich on one invoice, Brian, you know? And so it's basically pick up the gold flakes, keep pressing, do your job every single day, you know? Don't just go for these big gold nuggets, because the time in between the gold nuggets is a long time. It's better to go for the consistent flakes. I was just looking at the revenue. You guys aren't gonna believe it, dude. We've done over 310,000 so far this year, and it keeps going up because we're still working. So we'll see what happens. I don't know where we're gonna end up this year, but we already passed 300. We're past 310 now. So I don't even know what to say. Like, I'm so blessed, you know. You know, I'd like to say it's luck, but I know luck. You make your own luck, man. You work. You show up on time. You do your job. Yeah. I don't know who to make from. You know, here's another thing. You got to remember, the squeaky wheel gets grease. The squeaky gets grease or it gets replaced. I mean, there's only two options. Nobody ever listens. Even though we only got 1,000 pounds of PSI, something that's pretty quick here. Man, we killed it going through here, guys. We're right next to mine. You know, internet just sucks sometimes. But dude, we've had a lot of rain in Shelton. We have had a lot of rain. It's been nuts how rainy it's been. So how many of you guys are excited for Christmas? What do you guys got planned for Christmas? Did you guys get anybody anything special? You know, kind of cool? I'll tell you guys, this Christmas is going to be kind of special for me, because we're going to Florida for Christmas. Chris, the nitrogen worked great. Everything's working great. That's my Christmas meeting. I don't have to work on that strong arm anymore. You know, she's full. She's good with the nitrogen. I didn't have to add anymore. She's working flawless. Great. Blake, that's the only thing anybody's getting. That's funny, because I did that like 3 times this year. Like, we got my dirt bike and my wife's like, that's your Christmas present and your birthday present for the next year or 2 until we get a house. And then we got the side-by-side. And then she's like, that's your Christmas present and your birthday present. And then, or no, before we got the side-by-side, we did the power. And I'm like, that's our Christmas present. We got the power done. We got the primary power done. We're done with Christmas presents. And then we just kept working and making more money. And then it was like, okay, you know, waiting till Christmas. Here, making it here is, I got some people really want for Christmas? And she's like silent for a second, and she's like, nah, I don't want nothing. I'm like, Grandma, come on. I mean, what do you want for Christmas? You know, if I'm Santa Claus, what would you want for Christmas? She's like, oh, you can't afford what I want. And I was like, oh, really? Challenge accepted, you know? And then she was like, I want an embroidery quilts and stuff. And I'm like, okay, those are expensive. You're right, Grandma. Boom, I bought her a sewing machine, so I get to see what her reaction is gonna be this year. She's gonna be excited when she sees that thing. It's an advanced sewing machine, so she's gonna be very happy. And then you know, I got one of my brother-in-laws. He's really into like tactical stuff. I bought him this like Damascus steel blade knife. Oh, it's so sweet, man. It's an expensive knife. I bought it for him. It's a brother, Chris. Probably not Larry. We're probably just gonna build a normal house. But the shop's gonna be made out of shipping containers, like Andrews. Except for we're not gonna do the castle style. We're gonna do 2 high and probably a flat roof or a pitched roof. I'm not sure yet. So, and then also for like a Secret Santa, it was kind of funny. We do this Secret Santa thing every year since me and my wife got married with her family. And back when we started, we were all kind of broke, right? We all didn't make that much money, so we all made a limit. Like, okay, you can only, like 15 bucks, you know, at least spend 15 bucks or 20 bucks on the gift, right? I mean, every year I like to make a lot of gifts. So a lot of times I just make gifts for everyone, even though I got a Secret Santa. I always try and get them something extra, you know? But this year, I was texting my Secret Santa. I said, hey, it's my wife's sister, right? So I was texting her with my wife's phone because I didn't want her to know that I was the Secret Santa. I said, hey, you know, let's just say, you know, if, you know, you had 200 bucks to spend on something, what would you spend it on, you know? Which is way above the limit, you know? It's just it's absurd above the limit. And she, like, would not answer. And then I'm like, come on, what, you know, if you had to YOLO, what is it, you know? You only live once, YOLO, you know? And she's like, this isn't Mackenzie. Mackenzie would never say something like that. This is Brian, isn't it? And I'm like, yeah, you got me. What is it? So, you know, just... Anyways, I sent her a pretty cool Christmas gift. I think she's gonna like it. But, you know, just remember, when you're running your business and you're making all this money, you don't get to keep it when you die. You don't get to keep the money when you die. It goes away. The government takes it. Other people take it. So make sure you bless somebody's life with it while you got it. You know, it doesn't do you any good to just sit in the bank account. Yes, you have to have a certain amount, you know. If something goes wrong, you ain't gonna be screwed, you know. But when you got extra, make sure you give it away, man. That's something I've always lived by. You know, when I've had extra, always give it away, you know, and don't even ask questions or look back or want recognition. Just give it away, man. You'll feel amazing for it. You know, it is. Somebody's checking out that piece of property for sale. I spent a few $100 on my wife this year for Christmas. I bought her a whole bunch of clothes and stuff, you know. She loved it. She was happy. Very happy. She deserved it, though. I mean, my wife has sacrificed so long, you know.
So for a second I thought somebody was talking to me on the CV, but nobody was. We got a small little river going down the side of my road, like thousands of gallons, hundreds of gallons a minute, I can guarantee you that. Probably like 200 gallons a minute. I've been so blessed with this business, guys. I've been so blessed. Like, you guys have seen, like, when I first started this business with this dump truck, I've been so blessed. Like, I got nothing to complain about. You know, I complain all the time, you know, to myself and to my wife and my family sometimes, but I cannot complain, man. I look back 3 years ago when I was making, you know, $1,000 a week. Life has really made a U-turn, you know, because I took the initiative to start a business and I worked my tail off, you know, and you guys seen it from day one, you know. Like Jerry said, I'm the type of guy that I just don't quit, man. And you guys, I know a lot of you guys are the same way, you know. You just don't quit. You put your mind to something and you just go for it, you know. If that's the type of person you are when you start your business, you know, if you ain't afraid to just go for it and not quit, you'll make it no matter what, man. Just be smart with your money. Don't go blow it all. You know, have a savings account. Transport, you motivated me to start my dump truck business, so I appreciate it. It's been nice to watch. Do some prefab trusses for the shop. Yeah, I mean, you know, I don't really, you know, maybe I motivated you, maybe I said something that, you know, hit you just right, you know, when you're in the right position, that you understood what I was saying. You guys had it in y'all, you know, you were searching for somebody that had the same mentality as you know, and you just happened to find me, you know. I just happen to have the same mentality, you know. What's up, Wayne? So, I'm just glad that, you know, I've been able to, you know, help you guys out just as much as you've helped me out, you know, because sometimes, you know, when I first started my business, there were some days where I was, you know, like, oh man, dude, I don't know if I'm ever going to make it through this, you know. There were days. Like, I remember, man, when the batteries were dead on this truck, I didn't have enough money to buy the batteries, and I was trying to use this battery charger to charge it up enough so I could start the truck, and it wouldn't start because the batteries were dead, and I just gave up that day, man. I was like, man, I don't even know, you know. There were days where I was so depressed, like I thought I was never gonna make it, you know. Like, after I had got dragged on by that one shop for like 3 months. 3 months! Dragged on by Lakewood Towing, that company. They said they were going to fix my truck, you know. They said they were going to fix the crack in the frame. They just had to wait until they weren't so busy. And finally, I just said, look, man, if you don't want to work on my truck, just say you don't want to work on my truck, man. And then I had to call around and, you know, trying to find some shop that was willing to do it, you know. It just, I thought for sure I had, like, wasted all my money on this truck because nobody was going to be able to work on the frame. Like, I was like, man, there's like 2 companies in all of Washington that are willing to work on it. Like, what the hell? Like, I was like mind blown. Like, what if I spent, you know, this $10,000 on the truck and $5 grand on everything else that I put into it? What if nobody wants to fix the frame and I never get it on the road? You know, I was like so depressed about it. Like, I was like literally like, dude, I wasted all this money on this and all this time. Like, I've spent like a year, you know, and a half, a full year saving all this money to buy this stupid thing, and then I wasted, you know, 6 months working on it. I was so depressed, man. I was like, man, I don't know if I'm gonna make it, you know. And, you know, I just kept pushing. Finally, it just broke and it just gave in, you know. The truck said, yeah, we're gonna work. We're gonna make some money. You put in your time and your effort, we're gonna make some money, you know. And we got the frame fixed, and, you know, you guys have been here the whole time, you know. I mean, there's only a handful of you that have been from the very, very beginning, but a lot of you have went back and watched those videos of when I first started. You know, when I was fixing those airlines, when I pumped up the tires and, you know, filled them up with starting fluid to pump, you know, set the bead on the tires, you know. Some of you guys were there for that. Some of you guys were, you know, there when I got the box taken off, you know, and I drove it home. You know, when I couldn't figure out how I was going to put the muffler on because the drop axle was so close to the fuel tank. I mean, all these challenges that we went through them all together. I mean, you guys have been there, you know, constantly pushing me, giving me encouragement, you know. So I gotta, you know, give that back to you guys, you know. Yeah, exactly. Right when I bought it, I'm like, okay, this is what I think I need to start my business. This is what I think it's gonna cost, you know. I remember, you know, when I first bought the truck, like, if you guys go back and watch that video, we bought the cheapest dump truck on Craigslist, and you pause it and you look at the truck like under a microscope, oh Lord, man, you can see all the stuff wrong with it. You can just see it. Like when I first started it up and this cloud of smoke came out that was so thick you couldn't even see through it. It was like, dude, how did I go from that in 3 years to clearing $300,000 in 1 year? Like, dude, if that ain't blessed, if that ain't hard work, I don't know what is. Yeah. I mean, I remember doing the video too, like, guys, I just got fired. Like, I'm gonna go for it. Like, this is the day. This is when I give it my. I'll never defeats your courage. You know what I mean? And just know, you know, there are hard times in business, but you guys will make it through. You know, if you work hard and you don't just go out and blow all your money, you'll make it, man. You can make it in America. I don't care what anybody says. You can still make it. You know, you can still go from, you know, living paycheck to paycheck and having mountains of as the president or whoever, sometimes, you know, there's a lot of, you know, sometimes you have to walk on that fine line, you know. But you'll never look back and say, man, that was stupid. I mean, you'll look back and say, man, you know, we made it happen. We made the work and we did it, you know. It's like fixing that strong arm, man. It's a proprietary system. Nobody knows how to work on them, you know. The body manufacturer took 2 weeks to fix the truck, you know. It's like, but here I am over here welding on one of the cylinders so I can fill the stupid thing up with nitrogen. You know, everything, when you first start your business, everything seems so complicated. Everything seems like it's going to end your world. You know what I mean? But once you figure it out, then it's just another thing. You just put it in the spank bank. You know, that's what my old boss used to say. He said, you know, when you learn something, just put it in the spank bank, you know. So you get spanked once and then you put it in the bank and then next time it won't happen. You gotta keep going, man. You know, you make all these corrupt rules and, you know, these stupid laws and stuff. You just gotta keep pushing through it, man. We got different spank banks over here in Ohio. Blake, when you're first starting out in the winter and you know you didn't save enough, that is a sucky feeling. That is definitely a sucky feeling. And the stress and, you know, delay that gratification of buying what you want. It's better to delay it and know and have confidence that you have enough money that you don't need to work a single day during the winter to get through the winter, you know. And I tell you, everybody this, you know, when I started my business, you know, I had enough money in the bank. I could have stopped working in September, and that's because, watch, I put off buying all these toys until I knew I had enough in winter, you know. I knew that I was going to get through winter no problem, you know. That's why when I bought my toys, I started, you know, like I said, you know, you gotta have a game plan. You gotta know, you know, you gotta be prepared for what you don't know can happen, you know. And you're gonna get hit with some curveballs. Guaranteed you will get hit with curveballs. Like when the county said they were going to fine me $1,000 a day for parking my dump truck at my house. That was a curveball. I did not see that coming. You know? Gotta be prepared, you know? That's one of the things, I cannot stress it enough. In one of my biggest videos that I did, how to start a dump truck business, I say, you know, I know it's 2018, 2019, but do not start your business with debt. And I stand by that today. Do not start your business with debt because you don't know what your numbers are going to be. You don't know what it looks like. It's all a guess. I mean, you can take an educated guess, but it's a guess. You know? And I bought that super dump, and let me tell you what. If I wouldn't have got that check from Columbia for that downtime, I would be really hurt. I would really be hurt, you know, because of all the downtime I had. I missed like almost a whole month in the peak season, you know, but they made up for it, you know. I didn't get paid, you know, what I would have made, but they did a good job at compensating me. You know, that was a very big blessing, and I'm thankful for them, you know, manning up and, you know, paying that, you know, because, you know, man, it's raining so hard, guys. There's gonna be some flooding today.
in Washington. I would not doubt that at all. There's definitely going to be some flooding. And traffic's kind of crappy. You guys are going to hear this screaming demon when I take off at this intersection trying to get across the freeway. Great. That guy's coming. He's going to be turning. That means I won't be able to go. Come on. Come on. Time it just right. Go, 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 go. Oh, man. You could have went. Okay, here we go. Pound that like button. Pound that subscribe button. There we go. We got her. You know, that's another thing I've been thinking about a lot lately. It's like YouTube, you know? Like, I remember when I first started my YouTube channel, I had like 1 subscriber, and that was my wife. And that was because I went on her phone and I subscribed to my channel. You know? Shifting makes your arm hurt. No way, man. That's the sport, man. That's the... You gotta get into it, man. We're the last of the cowboys, man. We're drowning in the liberal tears, Chaka. We're drowning in the liberal tears over here. Yeah, when I started my YouTube channel, I didn't have any subscribers, man. And I did these videos I was talking to my driver about it, like how it all started, you know? Because he was like, his kids were like, man, these other kids, they started these YouTube channels and they got all this cool stuff. How come we don't have that, Dad? He's like, well, you know, they went through the effort of starting their channel. They put all that work into that. I mean, that's why they have all that. You know? Nothing in life is free. You know? Our YouTube channel's been exploding. I mean, we're exploding, guys. I mean, the channel is growing exponentially. It's just nuts. Everybody gets inspired. Kill it, you know? I wonder if my stuff's picking up rocks. I don't see them here. Driving one of our automatic trucks and I kind of miss shifting gears with my truck. I mean, there's times where, you know, it wears you out. There's definitely times where it wears you out and you're like, oh man, dude, shifting all day, my right shoulder, my back, you know. It definitely takes a toll, you know. But there's times shifting gears, grinding them, you know, and you're just grabbing gears, you know. You gotta factor in, you know, you have to ease back a little bit because you're gonna be going by a scale every, you know. There's all those risks that you gotta kind of weigh when you're determining the price of your bid, you know. So what I like to do is I'm pretty good at guessing how long it's going to take me now for a job, and I'm pretty good at guessing the cost of it. So now what I do is I say, okay, it's going to take this amount of time, it's going to, you know, this is the risk, this is what I'm doing, okay, and then I add a whole bunch of extra money, you know. So if something goes wrong, I know, you know, okay, what if this happens, you know? And it's still I will still want it to be worth it, you know what I mean? Even if I'm just breaking even, I still want it to be worth it, you know what I mean?
job, when I first started it, if I wouldn't have got those 2 loads of rock to haul to them, I would have made money, yes, but I wouldn't be as happy as I am now. You know, I'm ecstatic now, you know, because when I went and bid the job, I didn't go and look at it, right? I said, hey, send me a picture, you know, and pictures are deceiving, guys, right? So when he sent me the pictures of the concrete and asphalt, it didn't look like that much to me, you know, when I looked at it. I'm like, oh, okay, that looks like 3 loads, you know, which it ended up being quite a bit more than 3 loads. But you know, I bid it, so I was going to make extra money, and then something happened. It was more than I expected, but it still worked out where it's okay. It still works good, you know. So you're going to make some money, and you're definitely going to bid a few jobs where you're going to underbid them. I mean, it's a learning process, guys. I've underbid a lot of jobs before. Like, I've done a few jobs and I'm like, man, what the hell was I thinking? For doing this for that? Dude, like, I'm bringing $100,000 worth of equipment to your house and I'm only charging you this? Like, yeah. I mean, that's happened. My first 2 years, I did that a lot. And I ended up, you know, doing a stupid job. It was like paying me like $200-300 because I was just doing 1 load. And I gave up a full day's worth of work because I did something stupid. I was going to do 1 load, or, you know, I accepted a stupid job, you know what I mean? So I ended up paying the stupid tax. You know, instead of making $1,000, I made, you know, $200. I learned real quick, don't take those stupid jobs, man. You look for the good work, you know, you look for the full day. Look for that full day's worth of work, you make that money, make that 8 and skate, you know. Put in that half day, you know, those 12-hour days, those are half days. Make sure you put in that full half day, you know. Don't, you know, in the wintertime, it happens a lot of times too. You take these little odd jobs, you know, that pay you $100 here, $200 there, you know. Sometimes they're, you know, some people get cash jobs, you know. Sometimes when you do that, you end up giving up the good stuff, you know what I mean? Because you're occupied with something else. You already committed to something else. And you don't want to be the guy that commits to someone and then you say, oh man, I'm not going to be able to do it because of this. People remember when you do that to them. I know some truck drivers that have done that to me, you know, when I had work lined up for them, you know, and then they're like, oh man, something else came up, I got to do this, you know. You remember when that happens. So, you know, try not to be that guy. You don't ever want to commit to somebody and then go back on your word. I mean, it's a small industry. Probably, you know, once you've been in, I've been in the game for 3 years. I know almost every single company out there that rides dump trucks. You know, very, it hardly ever happens. When I'm driving down the road and I see a dump truck, I'm like, who's that? It hardly ever happens anymore. You know, obviously, the big companies, I don't know the drivers' names and stuff. But I know all the trucks, you know. I know all the dump trucks in Western Washington, you know, that are in my area. Like, I can look at them like, oh, from the back, I can tell, oh yeah, that's a Rhodes paving trucker. Oh yeah, that's, you know, that's Mowat's truck, or, you know, that's Van Dale's truck, that's Carly's truck, that's, you know, the list goes on. There's like 30 dump truckers. You know, maybe 40. But in the grand scheme of things, 40 is a very, very, very small number. everybody. It never works out like that. If you do, you're a snake. That's the only thing. You're some sort of a snake, man. If you can be friends with everybody, you either got the gold touch or you're a snake. You know? You're lying to somebody and they haven't found out yet. Old Town Bar. Yeah, that's a nice truck. I like that guy's truck. It's an older Mac. It's beautiful colors. Dark blue and silver. It looks so sweet. Love that truck. And I'm not really a Mac guy, but that's a sweet looking Mac. They're out of Yelp, right? You know, so, and the other thing is, you know, price is right. You know, you don't want to understand. That's the silent killer. You know, when you start bidding these jobs too low, where you just barely break even. If you do that too many times in a row, you'll go out of business. You won't even see it coming. Something will break down and you'll be like, man, how am I going to pay for this? You know? Or something happens and you go and fix it, and then you got to pay your insurance for the year, you know? And you're like, man, that's expensive as heck. How am I going to pay for this? You got to make sure you're charging enough, man, because you'll put yourself out of business if you don't charge enough. You know, and I would say the sweet spot is where you kind of feel like you're asking too much. If you feel like you're just barely asking too much, that's right where you want to be, probably. Like, man, I'm making this much money, that's almost a sin. Like, and that's the safest thing I can tell you guys on how to bid a job. If that's how you feel, you're probably right where you need to be. You know, if you feel like, oh man, I'm giving these guys a discount, you're giving them a discount. You ain't fooling nobody. You're doing it too cheap. You know. And then if you feel like you're ripping somebody up, you're like, man, I'm taking this guy to the cleaners. You're taking him to the cleaners. You know. So it is what it is. You know. I can't. You know, everybody always asks me to do these videos. Like, oh man, make a video on how much you charge, Brian. Well, it's like, if I tell you this number, you're going to go and try and charge what I'm telling you, and then you're going to get shot down, or somebody's going to tell you they're getting ripped off, or somebody's going to tell you you ain't charging enough, and then you're going to come back to me and say, oh, Brian, you told me this, and you're full of crap. You know, it's like, well, I told you that because that's my experience. That's what I would charge for something, and that's what my area is charging. You know, that's what it is in my area, you know. Like, Washington, we charge $120 an hour for a solo truck, 6-hour minimum. That's what I charge. That's all the, you know, there are a few guys that charge less than that, and everybody knows who they are, you know, and when there's extra work, nobody ever calls those guys because you already know that you don't want them stealing your customer because they charge lower than everybody else. And they're the type of people that would do that would take your customers. So, you know, go with your common sense gut feeling on what to charge. You do that, you go with your gut, probably 90% of the time gonna make some money. You know, that's the sweet spot. The price is right, you know. Like, when I first bid the job, I was like, man, am I charging too much? And then I started doing the job, and I'm like, no, I'm doing fair. I'm charging them fair for this. I probably could have got away with more, you know. So I'm probably a little on the low end of this job, you know. I probably could have charged a little more, you know. $4 grand for 2 days worth of work. you know, and I got 3 machines on the job. I got both my dump trucks, my excavator. So $4,000 for 2 days, that's pretty good, you know. It would have been $3,000 for 2 days, you know, for 3 pieces of machine. But I ended up getting those 2 extra loads of gravel, you know, so I ended up making almost $1,000 more. So that's just the way it goes, you know. It's all experience. You're gonna make some mistakes. You gotta learn to adjust, and you gotta learn from the mistakes. I don't know how many times, you know, and we laugh about this after the fact. You know, we like, man, I did that job for that. Man, it was that stupid. You know, it happens to us all the time. Every business owner has those experiences. You know, if you haven't had that experience, then you're probably charging too much. You know, you're probably missing out on work. You know, which might not be a bad thing. You know, if you're getting by, then you're happy with what you're doing, then you're happy. You know. Before we get to the job, and I'll show you guys the job site. You guys think it's pretty cool. You know, one of the cool things that is something that I never really expected to happen, but it's kind of like one of those, you know, is when your business grows and your business starts doing more and more and more, you get this sense of accomplishment that is so amazing. You're like, I helped build that, my business built that, my business built that, we did all the trucking for that building, we did this lane right here, you know, we did that lane. I mean, we built that cell site, we did this, we did that. That is one of the coolest things. You get a sense of accomplishment that is amazing. That's one of the benefits I love of running a business. Like, my business helped build the Shelton High School field, like, that they play football on. When my son goes to school, and, you know, if he plays on the football team, I don't know if he will or not, but he could say, you know, my daddy actually imported 300 tons, or 500 tons, or however much it was. He imported, my dad did the trucking for this. I mean, that's cool, you know? And every guy that's in a trade, guaranteed he does the same thing. Like, I did that. I did the electricity for that, or I put the roof on that, or, you know, I built the foundation for that, or, you know, every trade guy does it. You know, we're all the same. We all do the same thing. We're all proud of what we build, you know, because it's cool, you know. It helps people's lives. It's so cool. So cool. I get to say I helped Home Depot out. I built one of the, I helped them, you know, with the fueling. It's just so cool to say, you know, I was a part of that, you know. If you work for somebody else, you know, you don't, like, you can say it, but it doesn't really mean as much, you know. Like, if you work, like, I'm not saying, you know, this is bad or anything, but, like, the guys, you know, the people, like, that work at Walmart or McDonald's, what do they get to say, you know? What do they, when they go home, they get to say, well, I sold 500 burgers today, you know? Or they could say, you know, I guess you could spin it to say, oh, well, we fed the nation today, you know, or we fed all of y'all, you know, or I guess, you know, if they were working at Walmart, they could say, well, we made somebody's life better, we sold them this, you know. Some jobs just seem so meaningless, you know. It's hard for people to take, you know, pride in their work. And a lot of people don't. You know, you get stuck in one of those jobs that you can't, it's hard to find a way to take pride in your work. You know, sometimes those jobs suck. I know I had a job like that. It was the worst job I ever had. I probably told you guys this story too. When I worked at UniFirst, it's like a linen company. They do uniforms and like towels and stuff for restaurants, and they do, you know, mops and stuff, and they clean it. It's basically a laundry service. Hey, we'll come pick up your stuff, you wash it, and bring it back to you. Old and nice, neat, smelling great. That was the worst job I ever had, and I only worked there for a week. And I quit because the smell of the stuff was unbearable. You know, it was just like the worst job I ever had, and I was like, man, I'm only making like $10 an hour, and this is what I'm doing? Like, are you kidding me? Like, yeah, no, it sucks. When you start your own business, that sense of, look what we did, is so much more. You know, when you work for somebody, you still have that sense. When you own your own business, you really have more invested into it than just an employee, you know? And it's so cool. Alright, we just took the exit, coming up to the first stoplight. We gotta go around a few roundabouts, and then we'll be there. We're going past the Harley dealership right here. Lifetime powertrain warranty. Anybody ride Harleys on here? You get along with most people, but there are just some that rub you the wrong way. Amen to that. There are definitely the guys that rub you the wrong way. Or women or whatever, you know. I've found that I would say I get along with probably 95% of people I meet, unless I'm hungry. And then that number drastically decreases. If I'm hungry, anything could make me irritable, man. Anything could set me off. You know, when I'm hungry, it's a game changer, man. It's a game changer. Let's see, what do we got for lunch? Are you gonna have any lunch in here left? Man, what the hell is going on here? Oh, there it is. I was looking in the wrong spot. Okay, talking about food, I'm already starting to get hungry. What do we got in here? Come on. We got a sandwich. Look at that, guys. Lunch of champions. You want to become a millionaire, man? Don't waste all your money on fast food every day. On average, when me and my wife go out to eat, like just at a fast food place, $30, 20 to $30 guaranteed every time. You go out 3 times in a month, that's $90. 369, 30, 60, 90. And that's just 3 times. And you think 3 times in a month, that ain't nothing. Like some people go out every single day. You know? Make your own food. If you want to be rich, you got to make your own food, man. Or you got to be buying some cheap food. Love the sound of that Detroit hunting at idle. I just rolled the window down so you could hear it better.
we're coming up to Orion. I think that's what it's called, Orion. Been here like 5 times, so I don't got my GPS on, so it's, you know, I know where it's at, it's just I gotta be paying attention. Yeah, this is it. I remember that Community Action Council sign. Warehouse place. Tons of warehouses in here. Oh, that window does not like going up. It's kind of squeaky. Oh, okay, here coming up. I know it's kind of a corner. It's kind of a blind corner. Yep, here it is. There it is. Home Depot Distribution Center. Going in the gate. I don't even need to stop. They open the gate up for me. They're like, oh yeah, we recognize him. Love it when that happens. When you're going in and out of a place so many times, they're like, oh, forget it, just go. We don't need to see your credentials, just go. You know what's amazing? Like something that nobody ever just thinks about. You guys have any idea how much stormwater is at one of these warehouse facilities like this? Like, just think, like, this is a massive warehouse. Like, I mean, when you look in the mirror, it goes on. It goes on. I mean, this thing is massive. When it rains, all that water's got to go somewhere. All of it's got to go somewhere. And it ain't absorbing into the ground because there's asphalt and then there's a roof with a building on it. So they had to come up with a system that could handle all of that rain. Holy cow. Like, that's a system right there. Am I super up here yet? He's supposed to get low. I'm supposed to load him up first. He ain't even here yet. Slacker. Well, I gotta pull off and wait for him. Because I think there's too much sitting on the ground to go. Let's turn this thing off. Give me a second. There we go. So you can see my excavator sitting right there. Let's zoom in a little bit. Come on. Whoops, I accidentally clicked out. I'm trying to make the comment disappear so I can zoom in.
Okay, here we go. What the? It's not gonna let me zoom in. Anyways, that pile right there is too big to fit in just this dump truck, right? And loading that stuff into the super dump, you don't want to drop it from the top of the box because it'll dent the hell out of it. So what I did was I scratched the pile down. I pulled the pile down and, you know, put quite a bit right there. This is me being strategic, right? So now when the super dump comes in, he'll get loaded first with the stuff that's right there, and I'll try and squeeze as much in him as I can. By then, the pile will be a lot lower. And then I can back this truck up, which is a lot lower, and I can load it no problem with the 50. But the super dump, we definitely don't want to be, you know, we definitely don't want to be dropping that from that high up into the super dump, because it will dent the hell out of it. Not made to haul that kind of stuff. Not on a daily basis, at least. So, one of the cool things is, I've noticed with this super dump body from Columbia, it's really flexible. Like, when you're at the pit and you're getting loaded, like when they dump that gravel in, you can actually see, like, go like this. Like, it kind of bows out a little bit. It just bends, and then it goes back. I think that's a good feature, because, you know, when stuff in there, it's not so rigid that it just bends in that one spot. The whole wall kind of takes the beating, you know what I mean? Because the whole wall moves instead of just that one spot. And so it doesn't dent as easy. All I got for lunch today, can you believe that, guys? All I got for lunch today was 2 donuts and a sandwich. Donuts left over from last night. And that one sandwich. That's all I got for lunch today. How am I supposed to survive on that? I'm gonna have to complain to the chef. It was kind of a rush. We didn't really wake up on time this morning, so it's not really her fault. It's mainly mine. I set the alarm for 5:30 instead of 5 because I wanted to sleep in a little bit longer. So let me just show you what's going on at their job site, if they don't mind. So you can up. You can see that one plate right there in front of that truck. That's a big road plate. They got a whole bunch of them right there. They're going to be putting a whole bunch of electric piping and everything in the ground going from there to the warehouse. So, you know, as a dump trucker, owner-operator, you got to kind of learn how job sites are going to go too, right? You got to learn the process of it so you know if there's more work coming or not, so you can kind of guess. You know, you can kind of be like, hey, you know, I seen that you guys had that saw cut it all the way to the warehouse. You guys gonna need some gravel for that? You know, you're gonna need to export that asphalt too, you know? So it's those types of things, you know, that you gotta, you know, as you learn, you know, the industry more and more and more, you can progress by getting more work by doing that type of stuff. By being constantly engaged in the job site going further forward, you know, talk to the laborers, man. Talk to them, you know. Say, hey, yeah, how's the job going? You know, what's the next step? You know, what are you guys doing next? What are you guys making? What are you guys building? You know, when you learn that stuff from watching, then you know when the next, you know what's going to happen next. Instead of just being the guy that's like, oh, I only work when they call me. You got to be proactive. You got to be proactive. That's how you get a lot of work, is being proactive on a job site. Getting out, chit-chatting at the end of the day, off the clock, you know, chit-chatting a little bit, you know, asking some questions. Don't be all, you know, super intrusive about it, but, you know, just a little curiosity never hurt anybody. I gotta open this door and get the coat stuck out of the door. There we go. Alright, I may have to end the live stream because Brandon is not here yet and I'm starting to get impatient. Job's taking longer than I want because he ain't here yet. Every time I shut that door, the mirror adjusts itself. So annoying. When that thing's wet, it makes a lot of noise going up and down. Oh, here's the super dump. Here he comes. Woo, that's the money maker right there. Here he comes. Look at that truck. Look at that money maker. Here it comes. Oh yeah. For when he dumps, then he'll put it down. So I can load it. Oh wait, did you guys want to watch that dump? Here we go. Let's see how high that box goes up. He's gonna pull forward a little bit so he's not dumping all the rock on that grass over there. Kind of spreading the pile out a little bit. Columbia body. There it is. That's fully dumped right there. You guys probably couldn't hear it, but he hit the vibrator. There it goes again. Brrr, brrr. When you buy a dump truck, make sure that bed has a vibrator in it. Those vibrators, man, those are nice. They are nice. He didn't latch his tailgate yet. There it goes. latched. Now he's gonna. You can't put the arm down until he backs up. Until he stops backing up. At least when it's raining out, the truck doesn't look so dirty. You guys notice that? Now it's my turn to get out and do my job. Ugh. Well, time to put a raincoat on because it's still pouring down rain. That's the one sucky thing about not having a fully enclosed cab on your excavator. Your pants get soaked on your knees. Your knees are going to get wet, guaranteed. Did you guys want to see the strong arm in action? There it goes. He's putting her down. Oh. The camera's focusing on the windshield. What do you guys say? You guys want to see me load that super dump with the Mini? You guys want to see me load it? What do you say, huh? Yeah. Let's see how good this works. The phone's gonna be soaking wet after this. Alright. Let's see if he got close enough for me. Yeah, that's probably close enough. That's pretty dang close. Yep, that looks good. Yeah, no, it's good. You're close enough to the pile.
So what do you think? Halfway?
Yeah, I'm gonna fit as much as I can in there. You know, I'm gonna try and get all this lower stuff, and then I just want to make sure I can fit all of the rest in mine. You know what I mean? Because I don't want to be. Yeah, just for a quarter of a load exactly. If I don't have to, I don't want to. And it would be the other truck anyways, because I don't want to load this from the ground. So, yep. Of course, I left the key to the excavator, did I? Yep. It's in my other coat, of course. Sorry, guys. I gotta walk back over to my truck. Forgot the key. I was wearing my other coat. It gets wet a little bit easier than this one does. This one's rubber. This one's a grundle. It doesn't go around like heat or nothing. No, you don't want to get any sparks near it. Where's the dang pocket? There we go. Shut those lights off. My driver, he ain't gonna want to get out of the truck this time. It's just rated too much. He's like, screw that, I ain't getting out. So, Isn't that so cool looking though? That mini excavator sitting on top of that pile. Somebody take a screenshot of that. That thing looks so cool. Post that on my Instagram, my Facebook. The other thing that's nice about having an open cab is you gotta have a little towel to dry off the seat every time. Make sure it's dry enough to dry off the seat. This is one of those microfiber towels. It works really good. Even when it's wet, it still dries off the seat really good once you squeeze it out, you know. See, that's pretty dry. Still definitely, you know, a little moist, but you know, better than nothing. All right, let's see how we're gonna do this here. Let's see, I can't reach that far, can I? Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna scooch forward just a smidge. Probably right about there, because I can barely reach the end of the pile. And we'll put the blade down. Right, there's the blade. Alright. Alright. Now the thing is, with the pile being a lot shorter than it was, it's going to be harder for me to see in there, right? And I won't be able to set the stuff down as low. But what you want to do is you just want to go down all the way until you know it's going to touch just about. And then you just slowly let it out, you know, way down there. Right? At least that's how I do it. Also, when you're loading a dump truck this expensive, you want to shake off the loose pieces before you go putting it over the side of the bed rail. Number one, because if you drop a chunk on that side and then start the paint up, you're gonna have a crappy day. And that's not a good day. So just a quick little shake, that normally does it. The other thing is okay, see the bucket? You got to make sure you're putting that thing down real low, close to the sideboard. Because what happens is if you try, like, when the bucket's full, the higher up it is, the more it wants to tip stuff out. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to show you there. So the higher the bucket goes, the more it's tipping stuff out, right? So you just want to just barely, you know, a a few inches is all you really need, you know what I mean? And, you know, when you're loading dirt, it's good to get a full scoop, but when you're loading this stuff, you know, if you don't get a full scoop, it ain't the end of the world, right? Especially when you're just, you know, trying not to damage anything. Because the damage costs more than the time you would have gained if you were rushing. You know what I mean? Sometimes you can just tell when something's gonna fall out, you know what I mean? That's when you just want to just either shake it off. Oh crap. So that was a heavy scoop right there. The excavator started tipping over. So when that happens is, if you're over the box, just start dumping it out, right? That's the trick. Just start dumping it out. I gotta be very careful because that thumb is right next to that sideboard. That's a pretty big, crazy scoop right there. So what we'll do, I'm pretty confident I got a good grip on it. So we'll just put it close to us, right? We'll just slowly lower it down. See? I started to tip, but I set the bucket down inside. I'm touching the bottom, right? Another thing is, you kind of want to just wiggle stuff out. You know, if you just wiggle it back and forth, you know, just like that, you can get the chunks out pretty good without them just all falling out at once. You just kind of want to wiggle them out a little bit. Right, and this is all just stuff I've learned, you know, in the limited amount of time that I've owned an excavator. You gotta learn to be efficient and effective without damaging stuff, because the faster you go, the more efficient you are, the more money you make. I mean, that's just the way it goes, right? Another thing, when you're doing loads like this, if you have a pile of like gravel, like junky gravel or dirt or something, if you can put that in first, you know, as kind of like a little bit of a padding, that's what you want to do. You want to put that in first if you can, because it's kind of like a little padding, you know. That was a heavy scoop, right? I can already feel the excavator starting to teeter on me. You can just tell when it's going to teeter on you, you know. And I ain't no pro like Chris at Let's Dig, you know what I mean? So I'm sure there are better people you can get your experience watching, you know, but just showing you what I know. Doing the best I can with the phone squeezed in between my knees. once you get a good layer on the bottom, then it doesn't matter that you get it as low, right? Because the stuff you're dropping it on kind of takes a nice little cushion. Man, my pants are soaked already. Gonna be grabbing this stuff right next to the dump truck, so we need to go nice and easy. And another thing is you kind of want to scoop. Once you start scooping, you want to rotate also to help pull other stuff away. Because if you just straight up scoop, the stuff that's right there will just get pushed closer and closer to the tires, and then you'll have to move that stuff before the driver drives away. See that one piece right there? That didn't want to stay in there. That's why you give it a shake, you know. I just barely. Now this is some stuff that I would normally not, you know, tell my customers that I do, because I would normally not do this. See that piece right there? It looks like it wants to fall out. We get her close, we start setting her down right in there, just like that. Alright guys, thanks for watching me load that. You know, we're getting it done pretty good. I'm gonna sign out. We've been on here for an hour 40 minutes, so I'm gonna keep working. Thanks for watching guys, and don't forget to pound that like button and pound that subscribe button for all you new guys, and hope you guys have a Merry Christmas, because I probably won't see you until after Christmas, so you know, unless something crazy happens. So you never know. Catch you guys later. Have a Merry Christmas. Happy New Year.